Priority scheduling. In priority scheduling scheme, pick a highest priority process from the available processes. This means we will select that process from the ready queue which has highest priority in comparison to the other processes in the ready queue. Every process has priority associated with it. This means all the processes which are in the ready queue, they have a priority value, corresponding priority value. And this priority value is used to select a process from the ready queue. Priorities are indicated by a fixed range of integer numbers. Priorities are represented using integer values. And there would be a fixed range of these values. For example, a system may use range from 0 to 7 to represent the priorities of the processes. There is no general agreement that either 0 will be used to represent the highest priority or the largest integer value will be used to represent the highest priority. The range of the numbers as well as the decision that either a smallest integer value will be used to represent the highest priority or the lowest priority, it varies from system to system. CPU is allocated to the process that has highest priority. This means every process in the ready queue has corresponding priority value, and CPU will be allocated to that process which has the highest priority value. If two processes have the same priority, then FCFS determines the execution order. If ready queue has two processes and these two processes have the same priority value, then which process will be selected for execution? In this case, we use first come, first serve policy to select the process for execution on the CPU. That process will be selected which has arrived first in the ready queue. There are two versions of the priority scheduling policy: preemptive version and non-preemptive version. In preemptive version of this algorithm, CPU will be preempted if a new process arrives with the highest priority than the priority of currently running process. This means if there is already a process which is running in the system, and meanwhile a new process has arrived in the ready queue, and the priority of this newly arrived process is higher as compared to the priority of the currently running process. In that case, we will remove the currently running process from the processor, and CPU will be allocated to this newly arrived process. In non-preemptive version, we will not take the CPU back from the currently running process. Simply, whenever a new process arrives in the system, this newly arrived process with the highest priority will be put at the head of the ready queue. Let's take an example to understand the priority scheduling. Suppose 5 processes P1, P2, P3, P4, and P5 arrives in the order at time 0. This table gives the burst time for each of these processes as well as the priority values for these processes. The smallest integer value represents the highest priority in this case. Here is the Gantt chart that explains the priority scheduling for this set of processes. Because all the processes have arrived at time 0 in the particular order from P1 to P5. So that process will be selected from the priority queue at time 0, which has the highest priority. And among these 5 processes, process P2 has the highest priority because its priority number is 1. And 1 means the highest priority. So this process will be selected for execution and it will start running on the processor. After this process has completed its execution, there are 4 processes in the ready queue: P1, P3, P4, and P5. Among these processes, the priority of the P5 is the highest. So P5 will be allocated CPU and it will start running on the system. It will complete its execution at time 6, and after which we will select the next highest priority process. Now there are 3 processes in the ready queue: process P1, process P3, and process P4. Among these processes, the priority of the P1 is the highest as compared to the priority of P3 and P4. So P1 will be selected for execution and it will complete its execution at time 16. Now there are 2 processes in the ready queue: process P3 and process P4. Among these 2 processes, process P3 is the highest priority process. So P3 will be allocated CPU, and after that, process P4 will be allocated the CPU. From this chart, we can obtain the waiting time for each of these processes. By looking at this chart, we can find that the waiting time for process P1 is 6 because process P1 started its execution at time 6. And this process, rather I should say all the processes, they arrived at the same time at time 0. So process P1 has been waiting for 6 time units in the ready queue. The waiting time for process P2 is 0 because it started its execution as soon as it arrived in the ready queue. The waiting time for process P3 is 16 because this process started its execution at time 16. And process P4, it started its execution at time 18. The waiting time for process P5 is 1. The average waiting time for these processes is 8.2. That is, we have added all the waiting times for each of the processes and we have divided this sum by the total number of processes in this set to get the average waiting time, which is 8.2 milliseconds for the processes in this set. Priority scheduling allows a high priority process to run first. So this is an advantage of this algorithm, that using this algorithm, we can select a highest priority process to run first. In fact, SGF is priority scaling, where priority is the inverse of predicted next CPU burst time. This means SGF is also a priority scaling algorithm. It is a case of priority scaling algorithm, And in SGF, the highest priority process is that process whose predicted next CPU burst time is the smallest. So priority is the inverse of the predicted next CPU burst. And similarly, a lowest priority in SGF is that process whose next CPU burst time is the largest in comparison to the other processes in the system. The major limitation of the priority scheduling is starvation. Starvation are indefinite blocking. This is another name for the starvation. This is a situation in which a process that is ready to run but waiting for the CPU. This process can be considered blocked. This means there is a process in the ready queue. This process is waiting for the CPU allocation. However, this process has been waiting for indefinite time because there are other high priority processes in the system which are being allocated to CPU. So in this situation, this process, which is a low priority process, this process has been starving. In a heavily loaded system, a steady stream of high priority processes can prevent a low priority process the control of CPU. This means this low priority process has been waiting or has been blocked the control of CPU because there is a continuous stream of high priority processes in the system. And because these are the high priority processes as compared to this block process, so those processes will be allocated CPU. And this process, our block process, will keep waiting for the allocation of CPU. And this waiting time may be indefinite time. So how we can deal with this situation? Aging. We can use aging. Aging is a mechanism in which we gradually increase the priority of the processes that wait in the system for a long period of time. That is what we will do. We will increase the priority of this process by some fixed value after regular intervals. For example, in a system in which priority range from minus 127 up to 0, and there is a process with the lowest priority, that is minus 127. So what we can do, we may decide that after every 15 minutes, we will increase the priority of this process by a fixed value. This value may be 5. That is, we will add 5 to the priority of this process after every 15 minutes. So this is known as aging.